Welcome back to the True Alien Podcast. You know, we bring you the weird, the wonderful, and the downright extraterrestrial every single day. I'm Adrian Smith.
And I'm Julia Jones. I'm here to help sort through the strange as we go on today's paranormal probe.
That's right. Today, we're going deep into the Australian Outback.
Oh, the Outback, known for rugged beauty, ancient cultures,
And some seriously spooky disappearances.
We're talking about people vanishing.
Without a trace.
Just gone.
Leaving behind whispers.
Of what the locals call spirit stealers.
Chilling. Right.
It really is one of those stories that blends modern mystery and ancient lore.
It made you wonder, what happens when those ancient legends bump up against modern-day unexplained disappearances?
Exactly.
So get ready, folks, because we're going to unpack a tale that'll make you think twice about what you think you know about this world and maybe what lies beyond.
And if you like what you hear, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and leave us a review.
Yeah, it helps other listeners find the show and join us on this paranormal probe.
We always love having more curious minds along for the ride.
That's right. So, okay, let's get into it. Our story starts with Sarah Blackwood, a journalist on a mission to uncover the truth behind her brother's disappearance.
Right. Michael Blackwood, a pilot.
Vanished over the Outback, leaving behind nothing but radio static and some grainy images from his cockpit camera.
And this case actually echoes the famous disappearance of Frederick Valentich.
Another pilot.
Yeah, who vanished into thin air while flying over Australia.
Just gone.
Yeah. Valentich's last transmission mentioned a strange metallic object hovering above his plane.
Whoa.
So these similarities, as chilling as they are, really set the stage for a mystery that goes back decades.
Driven by grief and a hunger for answers, Sarah travels to the Outback, determined to find out what really happened to Michael. She seeks out a guide named Tom Harris, an Aboriginal elder with a deep connection to the land and its ancient stories.
And Tom's not just any guide. He's a keeper of stories, a bridge between the modern world and the age-old knowledge of his people.
I like that.
He guides Sarah not just through the physical landscape of the Outback, but also through a maze of lore and legends.
Which might hold the key to these disappearances.
That's what they're hoping.
Now their journey takes them to this abandoned mine, a place marked with strange symbols and even stranger sketches, almost like ancient cave paintings, but with a really unsettling modern twist.
Like what?
Oh, these drawings depict planes, figures in distress, and an eerie green light.
And what's really strange is that these sketches mirror the last images captured by Michael's cockpit camera before he disappeared.
No.
It suggests a connection, a pattern that goes beyond simple coincidence. We're starting to see a link between the ancient world and the modern world, between the concrete and the, well, we'll just call it the unexplained for now.
Okay, so let's break this down. Inside the mine, they find a tally of dates spanning decades, each one marked with a chilling sketch.
Like a record.
Yeah. Tom explains that these markings actually chronicle the disappearances, revealing a pattern that's gone unnoticed for years. And this is where he introduces the Aboriginal legend of the Ngangkari, the spirit stealers.
Now, before we get too far, it's important to understand what spirit stealers means in this context. The Ngangkari aren't your typical ghosts or goblins. In Aboriginal lore, there are these powerful entities that can draw energy, even life force, from living beings.
So, not literally stealing a spirit.
No, it's more like draining someone's vital essence, their light.
So these Ngangkari, they feed on the light within humans, and then what's left?
Empty shells. Just husks.
And Tom believes they're drawn to places of power, places where the veil between worlds is thin.
Right, and the mine, according to Aboriginal lore, was built on such a site, unintentionally disrupting an ancient balance.
So he thinks that Ngangkari, drawn to the energy of this sacred site, are responsible for the disappearances.
Taking people and leaving behind their bodies completely devoid of any life force.
It's a chilling thought.
It really is. And it actually ties into a theme we see pop up in mythology and folklore all around the world. The idea of soul-stealing entities. From vampires to demons, this fear of something taking what makes us human, leaving behind a vacant shell, it seems to be a universal fear. But the Ngangkari, they have a uniquely Australian flavor rooted in the land itself.
Now, Sarah, despite being a journalist and a natural skeptic, is visibly shaken by the evidence and Tom's conviction. She's driven by facts, but even she can't ignore the growing sense of dread and the terrifying possibility that these ancient legends might be more than just stories.
That's the thing, isn't it? This is where Sarah's journey takes a turn from a purely skeptical investigation to something much deeper, something that's both visceral and personal. It's no longer about just chasing a story, it's about confronting the unknown.
And facing a fear that's as old as humanity itself.
And as our paranormal probe continues, things take a much darker turn. Tom and Sarah reach the nearby town of Kuinda,
Expecting to find answers.
but what they find is so much more terrifying than anything they could have imagined.
Oh no, what did they find?
Imagine a town
Yeah.
completely frozen in time.
Mhm.
People just stuck mid-stride, mid-conversation, even children in the middle of playing tag.
That's creepy.
But their eyes are empty, vacant.
Like lifeless.
Yeah, like looking at a photograph, but where the people have been drained of something vital.
Wow, that's disturbing.
It really is. And what's so chilling is that it suggests the Ngangkari don't just take people, they take something from them.
Leaving behind a physical form.
That's completely devoid of any spark of life.
So a fate worse than death.
To exist, but not truly be.
That's terrifying.
It is. Tom calls these people husks.
Their light extinguished by the spirit stealers.
Exactly, and he warns Sarah not to touch them. He believes that any interaction could attract the Ngangkari.
Oh man, talk about tension.
Right. It's not just the unsettling stillness of the town, it's the overwhelming feeling that Sarah and Tom are being watched, like they've stumbled into something ancient and incredibly dangerous.
So this town of Kuinda becomes like a microcosm of the larger mystery.
Exactly. A place where the line between the real world and the supernatural is totally blurred.
And those empty townspeople.
They serve as a stark reminder of what's at stake. Not just survival, but the very essence of what makes us human.
Driven by a mix of fear and determination, Sarah and Tom press on, desperately searching for the source of the Ngangkari's power. Their search leads them to an abandoned church at the heart of the town
Marked with the same ancient symbols.
that they found in the mine.
Right. The church, like the mine, seems to be a focal point for the Ngangkari, a place where their energy is concentrated. It hints at a connection between the sacred sites of the Aboriginal people and these entry points for these interdimensional beings.
We're starting to see a pattern here. The ancient beliefs and traditions of the Aboriginal people intertwined with these strange phenomena.
It's like the past and present are colliding.
Inside the church, the atmosphere is heavy, almost oppressive. Sarah can feel that something's off.
Like something's watching them.
Yeah, and then she sees it. A flicker of movement, a flash of green scales disappearing into the shadows.
This is where the story shifts from speculation and legend into something tangible, something terrifying.
The Ngangkari are no longer creatures of myth.
They're real.
Sarah, being the journalist she is, knows she needs proof. She sets up her camera, hoping to capture an image of the creature.
But as she waits, the tension just builds.
Every creak of the old church amplifies the sense of dread.
We're right there with Sarah, waiting, knowing that what she's about to encounter is something that defies human comprehension. What we fear the most is often the unknown.
And then it appears, not from below as they expected, but from above. Descending from the rafters, this insectoid creature with iridescent skin,
Spindly limbs.
empty eye sockets.
It's the kind of sight that would make anyone question their sanity.
The way the Ngangkari is described, it's both alien and strangely familiar.
It evokes those images of insects or deep-sea creatures, the things that exist in the dark corners of our world that we instinctively fear.
But there's also an undeniable sense of intelligence in its movements. It's not just some mindless predator, it's something more, something that seems to understand our world.
And maybe even feeds on it.
Sarah, despite her terror, starts snapping photos, desperate to document this creature.
To prove that the impossible is real.
But her actions attract its attention.
Do you think the act of observation, the act of documentation, changes the nature of what's being observed?
It makes you wonder.
Is Sarah inadvertently making herself a target?
Tom sees the creature turn toward Sarah. He cries out and tries to distract it, but it's too late. The Ngangkari strikes, its limb wrapping around Tom, and within seconds he collapses. Just another empty husk.
Tom's sacrifice really underscores the very real danger posed by the Ngangkari. This ability to drain the life force from a person in an instant. It also highlights the courage of those who stand against the darkness, even when it means sacrificing themselves.
Sarah is now trapped, alone with this creature, in the echoing silence of this abandoned church.
It's a moment of pure terror.
But something inside Sarah snaps.
It's a classic hero moment, that point where fear transforms into resolve. She realizes she's not just a witness to these events. She's a participant, and she has a choice, flee or fight.
In fight, she does.
Hmm.
Sarah bursts from the confessional, camera in hand.
But she doesn't try to take another picture.
No. She uses the camera's flash, firing it again and again directly at the creature.
It's a desperate act, but it has an unexpected effect. It's interesting to note the symbolism of light as a weapon against darkness. Light representing knowledge, truth, and purity. Darkness representing ignorance, fear, and evil. Sarah's use of the camera's flash, a literal source of light, taps into this primal archetype.
The Ngangkari shrieks, recoiling from the bursts of light.
Its skin darkens,
Smokes.
and its movements become erratic. Sarah doesn't stop. She keeps firing the flash, driving the creature back until it finally collapses, its connection to this world seemingly severed.
The church is silent. The only sound, Sarah's ragged breathing and the click of the empty camera. She's alive, but forever changed by what she's seen and experienced.
Sarah's survival is a testament to human resilience. Our ability to find strength and courage in the face of unimaginable horror. But it also highlights the importance of knowledge, understanding. Tom's stories, the ancient lore, it provided her with the key to understanding the threat and finding a way to fight back.
Now the story jumps forward several years. Sarah, hardened and haunted by her experience, continues to investigate the Ngangkari phenomenon.
Which is amazing. Most people would just try to forget it ever happened.
She starts receiving packages, tips, whispers of other disappearances. It seems the threat is far from over.
This just shows us that what we've glimpsed might only be the tip of the iceberg. There are things out there that operate outside the bounds of our perceived reality.
It's a reminder that we're not alone in the universe, but the company we keep may not always be benevolent.
That's for sure.
Sarah, armed with her camera and the knowledge that light can repel these creatures, dedicates her life to exposing the truth.
To warning others.
Fighting back against the shadows.
She becomes a beacon of hope.
A symbol of defiance in a world that would rather ignore the darkness.
Sarah's story is a call to action. A reminder that we can't just hide from the unknown. We must seek knowledge, confront our fears, and find ways to protect ourselves from the forces that would seek to destroy us.
So what does this all mean? Are the Ngangkari real? Are there other spirit stealers hiding in the shadows of our world?
Those are great questions.
We leave you with those questions, listeners. But remember, knowledge is power.
The more we understand about the unknown, the better equipped we are to face it.
That's it for today's episode of the True Alien Podcast. Be sure to share your thoughts and theories on social media.
And as always, stay weird.
Sarah finds herself alone,
In the silence of that abandoned church.
still holding that camera.
The weight of what she's just seen and experienced, so heavy on her.
She's alive.
But she's changed.
Forever changed.
Yeah. We fast forward a few years.
Sarah, though haunted by the experience, hasn't given up. She doubles down on her investigation.
It really speaks to her character.
She's not running from the truth.
She's chasing it.
She starts getting these packages. Cryptic tips, whispers of other disappearances.
The threat's not over.
Not even close.
This encounter, it might just be a glimpse into something much larger.
Right. There are things out there lurking in the shadows.
Things that defy our understanding.
That operate outside the neat little boxes we try to put the world in.
Exactly. And it's humbling.
For all our scientific advancements and explorations, there's still so many unknowns.
And those unknowns can be exhilarating and terrifying.
Absolutely. So Sarah, armed with her camera and the knowledge that light can repel these creatures, she dedicates her life to exposing the truth,
Warning others.
fighting back against the shadows.
She becomes a beacon of hope, a symbol of defiance.
In a world that would rather pretend the darkness doesn't exist.
Sarah's story, it's a call to action.
Yeah. We can't hide from the unknown.
We have to confront our fears.
Protect ourselves and our world.
From the things that would seek to destroy us.
It's about taking ownership of our reality, not just accepting what we're told. Sarah's journey shows us that even when faced with overwhelming fear, we have the capacity for courage.
Resilience.
Action.
And sometimes all it takes is a single spark of light to push back the darkness.
So are the Ngangkari real? Are there other spirit stealers lurking out there?
These are questions we all have to ask ourselves, especially when we delve into these stories.
The universe is vast, and it's full of mysteries. Sometimes the most important thing isn't finding all the answers, but simply staying open to the questions.
Keep that sense of wonder alive, but don't forget to be cautious, too. You never know what might be lurking just beyond the reach of your flashlight.
That's all the time we have for today's paranormal probe into the world of the Ngangkari.
Keep those flashlights charged and your minds open.
Until next time, stay curious, listeners, And as always, stay weird.